All right, I'm about to go over the 2016 National Latin Exam Level 1. And obviously, as always, I'm going to be embedding 4 items that will, by watching this video and noting those 4 items, earn yourself an easy 100 via the Canvas quiz. Let's go ahead and begin. Non vidimus. This is the perfect stem, video videre vidi visus, with, of course, the perfect ending. E isti it imis istis erunt. But here, all the answers are a perfect expression. You just need to figure out that it is imus. And so we have not seen. We did not see, we have not seen. Number 2, removere. That is the infinitive to remove. Should have been an easy one there. Nos. Nos, remember, means we or us. And very often the National Latin Exam will idiot-proof it and not offer you those options. And so you know that it is going to be letter B, us, for this one. Quote, we've seen this word before on previous NLEs. It means how many, like quota. So how many columns do you see in the picture? Unus, duo, tres. Tres is your answer there. The next one, amico meo. Remember, this is an example of where it could be either a dative singular or an ablative. You look for ditransitive verbs. Ditransitive verbs are those that are going to have a direct object and an indirect object that receives the direct object. And so here, demonstrat, shows, as in give, show, speak, or tell. Got to ring the dative bell. So Titus shows the direct object accusative book to my dative friend who is receiving that book. And so the answer here is going to be C, telling us that it is a dative with the ditransitive verb. Neque, neque, neither nor. We've seen plenty of these before. Both and would be et, and either or would be out, out. A-U-T, A-U-T. Number 7. Ama bunt. Remember when you see a bi, and that's really a bi that is converted to a bu in front of an nt. Remember the Romans don't make him say int, the Romans make him say unt. It is thus future. Bo, bis, bit, bimis, bitis, bunt. So they will love. Letter C is your answer there. And that's your first item that you're going to be putting in the quiz. Ama bunt. A-M-A-B-U-N-T. The future they will love. Number 8, quid means what? And so your answer here is B as in boy. When, remember, is quando. Where is ubi. And who is quis. Salutum dicit, dico, dicere, dixi, dictus, to speak, and so speaks greetings. Marcus speaks greetings, and thus, obviously, the answer here is he greets. Numquam is just a word that means never, and there it is, your answer A. Often, remember, is saipe, sometimes is, I don't think we've had yet, and always is semper. Plaustro. Plaustro is a wagon, but we know it's not going to be of a wagon. Long ode is not going to be genitive, and we need to obviously make it either to a wagon or by a wagon. It is either dative or ablative, and so you figure out by looking to see, do you have a ditransitive verb? Well, portavit means carried. That's not ditransitive. It's not give, show, speak, or tell. So the farmer, agricolo, carried the pigs, the porcos, to the city ad urbem in a wagon or by a wagon. And so here it is, by wagon. Answer D. Errant. Remember that errant is the imperfect of the verb sum esse. Sum ss, sumus esse sunt. Present, I am, you are, he is, we are, y'all are, they are. Eram, eras, erant. Eramus, eratus, errand is the imperfect. So they were, the boys and the men were happy. Were is the answer here. And this is your second item you're going to be putting in. Errant, E-R-A-N-T. Mente is a command. Send the letters, many letters to me, talking directly to the student. And so we need to make it into the vocative. Remember, the vocative almost always looks the same as the nominative, but when it ends with a US, you take off that US and you add an E, discipule. Then altos here modifies what? Well, we look at altos, we know that it has to be an accusative plural. And what is accusative plural? Well, the soldiers could be accusative plural, but the trees could be accusative plural. So it's either that the milites, the soldiers, seek the trees, or the trees seek the soldiers. Well, obviously, I think that the trees are the direct object, and so arbores is the word that it's going to be modifying. In the same case, number and gender. Noli correre means don't run. It's a command, a negative command at that. Quam with an exclamation point means how. Handsome, pulcher is your horse. Who, remember, would be quis. When is quando, and cur would be why. Between the islands, between here is going to be the word inter. Inter is between. Prope means near. In means inner, into, or on or onto. And trans means, of course, across. The citizens were shouting Magna cum ira with great anger. Magna cum ira shows blank. They were shouting. It doesn't show when. It doesn't show with whom. It shows how. Quo modo. The next is the Roman numerals. We'll be going over this early in the week. And DCCXLIV. D is 500. 2 C's would be, of course, 200s, so 700. XL, that is x in front of a letter that is larger in its value. That L is 50, x is 10, and when a smaller number is followed by a larger, you pair them together and subtract. So that would be, of course, 50 minus 10, 40, and then you have the same situation here. An I is 1, a V is 5, and when you have a smaller in front of a larger, then you subtract, and so that would be 4. So 744 is your answer here. Number 20, what article of clothing is the boy wearing in the picture? That would, of course, be the tunica, the basic undergarment that all Roman society wears. What Roman hero bravely defended the bridge? Defending the bridge is Horatius. He is Horatius at the bridge against Lars Porsena. Mucius Scaevola, remember, was the guy dealing with that same Etruscan king, Lars Porsena, who burned off his hand. And remember, Cincinnatus leaves the plow in order to be able to save the Roman army and does not extend the dictatorship, but rather goes directly back to his farm. Next, into what creature did Minerva transform Arachne? That's a spider, obviously. What should students do when the teacher says, aperite nunc libros, do something to your books? And so it's going to be that you open your books, aperite, from aperio, aperire, to open up. Pompeii is labeled what? Well, Pompeii is right south of Rome, and so in Italy is where it would be. Number 2 is where, of course, you find Carthage, and over here in Greece is where you would find Sparta and Athens. Sparta at number 4, Athens be right above it, and of course that's Hispania, or Spain. The Latin phrase, the equivalency of I do something for you, you do something for me, that's quid pro quo. What for what? Not in wine there is truth, not to the stars through hardships, none of the words hard work, and not seize the day or pluck the day, but rather quid pro quo. What group of distinguished citizens met in the Curia? The Curia is the Senate House, remember? So that'd be the senators, and that's your third item, the Curia, that you're going to put down for your easy 100. What Roman goddess was the twin of Apollo? That, of course, is going to be Diana. Diana is that goddess. What part of the body do you use to carry out the actions of spectare, videre, conspicere, to watch, to see, to catch sight of? Not your pedes, your feet, but your oculi, your eyes, not your aures, your ears, and not your manus, your hand. What open area in ancient Rome was used for the gathering of army, and the voting by citizens? It's not the Via Appia, that's a road. It's not the Circus Maximus, that's where chariot racing goes on. It's not the Colosseum, that is, of course, where the gladiatorial combat took place, but the Campus Martius. It's the field. Campus means field of Mars. And so that is the open area. The words debit, indebted, and debt, all from the word that means owe, debeo, debere. So let's take a look at the passage that we have here, and I'm just going to go through it and point out one of the words will be your final one. Hopefully by reading the passage you can understand what you've missed and why. So, Saturnus, whom, and please do always use the help that you have on the right-hand side. So Saturnus, whom Jupiter had overthrown, he fled from the sky, caelum, the sky, to the earth, ad terram, and he sailed. Now we got wit. Look at the V that you see there. Perfect tense. Did sail. Has sailed. Navigated into Italy. As a fugitive, he was bringing to the king Janus magna beneficia, big benefits. Janus, who then was ruling the land. Populi antiqui, the ancient peoples of Italy in the genitive, were wild, feri, you can see it right up here given to you, and without culture. And que, remember when you see que, that is the equivalency of putting an et in front of the word to which it is attached. And they were living, vivere, another word that the National Latin Exam loves to use, they were living without culture and laws. Legibus is also object of sinu. The peoples were not holding homes, but they were living, please note the difference between habeo, habere, to have it hold, and habito, habitare, to live. They were living in caverns or in the trees. Nuts and fruits, were they eating? So they were eating nuts and fruits and raw meat, crudum carnem. They give you all of that over here. Therefore, Saturninus gave do, dari, dedidatus, a ditransitive verb, accusative laws, and he did teach, docere, docere, chapter 6, I think, the peoples to build houses and to cultivate the fields and to cook food. For, or on behalf of, these benefits, Janus was driving thanks to Saturninus. gratias agere means to give thanks or to drive thanks, literally. After Saturninus did sail from Italy, Janus wanted the peoples to celebrate this god, Deum. They love the word Deus, Dei on the NLE. Therefore, when he was making coins, ex una parte, on one side or from one side, he was representing the image of the head of Janus, ex altra parte, from the other side or on the other side, the image of a ship. And so here again, capitis, remember the word capitis means head. So on one side is the head of Janus, and on the other side, the image of a ship. And when the Roman boys were playing ludere, we've seen that word before on NLEs, they tossed the coins into the air in sublime, and they were shouting capita, heads, or ships. Naves. So nevertheless, your final word for the quiz is the line 4, the word vivebant, from vivo, vivere, meaning to live. If somebody is vivacious, they are full of life. So vivebant, that's the final word that you're going to put. Thanks for watching. Do well on the NLE.